Well, before we get into today's review, please follow me on Instagram. I never, ever talk about my Instagram. I'd really appreciate it. Edging closer to 7,500 followers today, obviously. We won the Community Shield. I've just posted a nice picture of Declan Rice there with his first trophy. And you'll notice straight away when you go over there, I post a load of stuff, car-related or dog-related. There's a lot of dog stuff. But yeah, I'd really appreciate a follow on Instagram if you wouldn't mind. There is a link in the description. But of course, today is all about this result here. Now, I've got a few things I want to talk about regarding players, but I just want to talk about the competition in general, the Community Shield. A lot of rival fans, let's be honest, like to laugh at whoever wins it and say it's not a real trophy. It's not that big deal. It's a Community Shield. But the thing is, okay, yeah, the trophy isn't that big. Yes, it's not really the most incredible moment. Of course it's not. It's not an FA Cup. It's not the Premier League. It's not the Champions League. It's not even the Europa League or the Conference League. But it's what it means to the team to have got into that. First of all, you've got to remember, it is normally the Premier League champions versus the FA Cup champions. Now, of course, City won both last year, so it goes to the next best in the Premier League, which was Arsenal. We finished second place. So to get there is an achievement itself. Okay, second place is pretty good going. Second best team in England. And it's the occasion. It's a Wembley trip. It's a lot. And I think it's very easy to see a rival team win it and kind of go, well done. Oh, wow, you won the Community Shield. Well done. But I think it is actually a huge thing for the players themselves. Officially, we've just won a trophy. It is silverware. So it's not the most exciting one, but it's still a trophy nonetheless. And of course, we won it on penalties. And to be fair, I wouldn't say City were the better side on the day. They definitely dominated. It felt like more than that, to be honest. The amount of time they had the ball on the back line, but it's easy to forget that possession isn't how much time you've got the ball, it's the amount of passes. And honestly, it wasn't... I want to say that they dominated the game, but we had the better chances. I think in general, the first half, for sure. Of course, Cole Palmer's goal was very, very good. And then we got very lucky with a jammy own goal. I mean, it's going to go down as a Trossard goal, I guess, but I think it took 2 deflections and went in, so maybe a little bit harsh. Well, no, the word's not harsh. Maybe a little bit lucky that Trossard got it, but it's very harsh on Man City because they did defend pretty well today. But I think, in general, Arsenal have had a very strong pre-season. They've had a lot more time with new signings, and I feel like... it was pretty even going into the game today, and I think we did really, really well to stay in the game for as long as we did, and we just got a bit of luck. In terms of the penalties, though, my God, we've been really strong at penalties in pre-season and now with the first game of the season as well. What a way to start the season, by the way, with a trophy win. But Ramsdale was the hero, making a huge save, and then Vieira, of course, was able to step up and finish it off. Man of the match was Saka, in terms of highest rating here on FOTMob, but let's be honest, it wasn't a particularly great game in general. There wasn't a standout player. I would say that Kovacic and Rodri were very good. I thought Stones was pretty solid as well. Ortega, their keeper, it's annoying watching it, but he's pretty damn good at what he does, the way he steps up the pitch, and he's very comfortable with the ball at his feet. The referee was frustrating, to say the least. And I've got to say, with all of these new, I guess, refereeing rules, there's a lot more cracking down on time wasting, kicking the ball away. There was a massive 8 minutes added on and more added on top because of a head injury. It felt like the World Cup did. And I've got to be honest, when I got used to the World Cup with the added time and things like that, I kind of enjoyed it. So I'm not against it. But what I will say is it seems very inconsistent, especially with Arteta getting a yellow card for complaining. I know Arteta is very animated on the touchline, and if the rules that we got today were in place last season and the season before that, Arteta would have been sent off a lot. He does take it to a new level. He gets very, very intense on the sides. He's going to have to calm that down if this stays the way it is. But Partey picking up his yellow card for tapping the ball away very, very slightly. And it was the same with, was it Alvarez? Was it Alvarez who got the yellow card for kicking the ball as well? But I don't understand how Rodri didn't get a yellow card in this game. It makes no sense whatsoever. So let's talk about the team. I was happy with the lineup to some extent. We'll talk about Timber as a whole, but I've got to just quickly mention the fact that he's playing on the left side today, and it didn't even feel like a weakness for us. He just slots in there very nicely. It's kind of weird. Ben White on the right, I think, was the right choice. He is still, I think, our go-to right back at the moment. And of course, Saliba and Gabriel, Ramsdale in goal. It was just basically Zinchenko out, Timber in. That's our best defence. It's going to be very, very difficult now, I think, if Zinchenko's fit, to not put Timber in there somewhere. Now, obviously, when he's playing left back, he's not an out-and-out left back. He's actually inverting. He's swapping around with Rice. Gabriel's drifting wide, whatever. But I think... Let's talk about Timber now, because this has to be talked about. For me, he has been the most impressive signing. Havertz, don't get me wrong, I think Havertz could work out well for us, but I could kind of take it or leave it with Havertz. I'm a fan of his. I think he did relatively well considering what was going on at Chelsea. I think he was being misused. I think he had a very, very good time at Leverkusen and got picked up for a lot of money, and it's a lot of pressure. But I'm going to be honest, guys, seeing that 65 million spent on him, and you're seeing, Maddison go to Tottenham. There's other players I can bring up, but I do have to admit I'm very much take it or leave it with Havertz. I think obviously I'm going to get behind him, and wherever he plays and whenever he plays, I'll get behind him. But he hasn't really impressed me so much. And Declan Rice, again, don't get me wrong, incredible player. But he hasn't exceeded any of our expectations just yet. And you can tell that he is absolutely learning an entirely new system and an entirely new position almost. West Ham is a completely different style of football. He's used to not having the ball. He's used to being chasing down the opposition. And now all of a sudden he's got the ball at his feet, although today not so much. But in general, I think that's going to be a thing for him that he needs to work on and realise that actually we need him in a more attacking sense than he ever has been needed. I think he's doing very well, though. But out of the 3 new signings, Raya coming soon, maybe a 4th, but Timber has impressed me the most. He can literally play anywhere, I'm convinced. Left wing at times today. Left centre mid. He could play at DM, easy. Left back, centre back, right back. Throw him in goal. Throw him up front. He'll do a job. He is absolutely insane. I have been impressed so much by Jurrien Timber. And to play at left back when you're right-footed, when you've always played centre back / right back / midfield, is incredible. To come up against Man City and do that, honestly. And the fact that we conceded as soon as he went off, and it was down his side, I think that says a lot. I'm not saying it was Tierney's fault, but potentially Timber going off unsettled that side of the pitch for us. I really like him. And I mean, I really like him. I think Timber is our best signing. Pound for pound, he has to be. I'm not saying that he's a better player than Declan Rice, because I don't think he is. I think Declan Rice, at what he has done for West Ham, that defensive role and transitional midfielder, he is up there with the very best. But we've paid 105 million for that. So when you're talking value for money, pound for pound, player value, Timber is just, he's elite. He is a seriously good footballer, and I'm so excited he's ours. Ødegaard, pretty good game from him. I thought some moments of absolute magic, but also doesn't look quite at his best, which is fine. It's just at the end of pre-season. Martinelli, I've got to say, I wouldn't have started him. I would have started Trossard. And we saw when Trossard come on just a little bit more. And look, I love Martinelli. I'm one of his biggest fans, but I do think sometimes he just needs to get his head up. He does a lot of this running with his head down. And yes, this shirt is really growing on me. I love it. But I do think Trossard just has a better end product at times. And I'm not talking goal scoring maybe, but just on the whole, as a creative player, I do really like Trossard. But Martinelli is obviously our go-to left-sided player. I probably would have started Nketiah today as well, potentially. But Havertz did okay. His hold-up play needs work for sure, using his 6'4" frame and being a bit stronger. Probably should have scored. And then Saka did his usual 7, 8 out of 10 every week, isn't he? He's just brilliant. Let's quickly talk about Man City and the fact that Haaland got 0 expected goals today. Didn't have a sniff, which was great. Grealish, very quiet because of Ben White. I thought Alvarez was pretty good, actually. I quite like him in the pocket there. I don't see him as a striker. He's definitely much better off the shoulder of Haaland there. Bernardo Silva, I hope he stays in a way because I love watching him. He's just such a Rolls Royce of a player, but I don't know if he is staying. Rodri was quality as ever. I mean, I personally think if you take Haaland out of the team, they can still perform. If you take Diaz out of the team, they can still perform. And I mean, perform to a high level. Grealish, Walker, whoever. But take Rodri out, and I think they would be struggling considerably more. He is, I think, their most important player. He is the best defensive midfielder in the world for me. And once again, showed just how good he is today. Kovacic was very good as well. Kovacic is a great signing. He's not as good as Gundogan, but I think he can certainly do a job. We beat City. We beat City, guys. We start the season off with a trophy. Whether people like it or not, it is a trophy. It's not the biggest one, but it goes down in history as a piece of silverware. And Arteta adds to already a Community Shield, an FA Cup. And I'm just hoping that this season, if I was to be honest right now, I would take second in the Prem because I don't think we're going to win the Premier League. So I would take second place if it meant that we got to at least the quarterfinals of the Champions League, hopefully the semi-finals, and an FA Cup win. I would say that is actually a very good season. We're not going to win the Champions League. We're probably not going to win the Premier League. So the FA Cup, I think, is a really good shout for us this season. And if we're making signings like Raya to give Ramsdale competition, I mean, imagine having Raya as our cup competition keeper or Ramsdale other way around. Like, it's insane squad depth adding to what we've already got. It's looking very good for us in multiple competitions. And this hopefully is just the start of a successful season. But I'm getting hot in this. Damn, I am taking it off before I sweat in it and ruin it. I really dig this shirt. I really do. But again, just a quick little shout out. Please follow me on Instagram. I'm hoping to get my name changed soon. I obviously want to get just MGH, but it is taken. I'm talking to Instagram. Hopefully I can get it. Come and look at Alfie and pictures of my Tesla and stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.